And welcome viewers to a YouTube exclusive live stream. Looks like the Smash News Network has caught on fire again. Allow me to put that out. And we'll put out other fires too, relating to things like news and politics, perhaps. So Merry Christmas Eve from SNN, Least Busted Name in News. And this will be a YouTube exclusive again. We'll be featuring your chats and so on. So if you're tuned in, thanks for leaving a comment, all the sun. Everybody else, leave a comment if there's something you'd like us to cover. And we'll get to it in due time. So this is essentially a Smash Lights segment. And that's a regular playlist that we have on YouTube. If you haven't checked out the earlier Smash Lights segments, perhaps check those out. You can find various other playlists as well at youtube.com/smashomash/playlists. I would invite all of our viewers to check out our website, smashomash.com. You can find links to our smashomash.org Presents the Sun series. A whole bunch of videos featuring close-ups, some with original music, some with not so original music. And we've got, I think there are about a dozen of those now. Check that out also. If you haven't checked out the stores, you can link to that from the website as well. Just scroll down, you can see the smAsho store and the Smash store. Click on those links, and you can be directed to the Teespring stores. Today's featured product is the Mansa shirt in red. It's nonpartisan, because it's up to you to make America not suck again, not the government. It's also got our URL on there. And the design's fantastic, by the way. I'm not wearing one today, but I have modeled the Mansa shirt in the past. Also, follow me on Twitter. We'll get back to that momentarily. And don't forget to press like and subscribe over here on YouTube. What is it that you all would like to talk about? We'll feature some news stories and some other stuff. First, I'd like to thank our patrons, the true source of funding for our content. Become a patron. If you'd like to support us, increase the probability these videos will continue to exist and remain publicly visible and free. Patreon.com/smashomash. There are our active patrons listed in order of lifetime contribution. We upgrade it every month, and if you do become a patron, please consider joining at the $3 per month or higher level. We'll be eliminating the $1 and $2 tiers for New Year. By the way, 2021 will be a year of accountability. Now, I didn't have to break out my crystal ball, which you can see right here. I didn't have to break out my crystal ball in order to forecast the fact that I'm going to try to destroy the place by dropping a crystal ball. Don't worry, they're pretty durable, folks. Yeah, so I didn't need a crystal ball to forecast that the year 2020 would be a year of clarity. It was just a numerological observation. Guess what's going to happen in 2021? It's going to be the year of accountability. There are a lot of parties to be held accountable, whether they are certain elected bureaucratic officials, unelected swamp dwellers, corporations, or even individual citizens who've attempted to uphold unconstitutional edicts just created out of thin air by various government officials to do things like combat the freaking coronavirus. I don't want to get that in my eyes. It's time to glass up. Ah, that's much better. And let's start the place on fire again. There we go. And how you like them apples, COVID? Do you like them apples, COVID? COVID says it has not become flame resistant. I think it's searing. All right, let's put this fire out. Ah, I feel much better now. And let's take a look at some news stories. Let's see what they're saying over at, I don't know, how about theblaze.com, a fairly objective news source. Yes, I know, they're right-wingers, At least they admit that they're politically biased, unlike organizations like CBS News, who I've recently trolled on Twitter. So that's one of the great things about Twitter, folks, is that you can talk directly to certain people, whether it's Liz Warren or AOC or President Trump himself. Let's see what we got. Rush Limbaugh didn't expect to be alive. And some people are concerned that Rush did his last radio broadcast yesterday. Let's hope not, as the prolific talk radio host. Sounded pretty healthy, so I don't know. Maybe there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of, but having been diagnosed with stage 4 terminal lung cancer, we're hoping Rush has many more years ahead. So let's see what other featured stories they've got. New York City GOP club defiant after criticism for holding holiday party that included unmasked conga line. Oh my God. They're killing grandma. They're killing grandma. Oh my God. They're not socially distancing. Oh my God. Stop the presses. It's very, very scary. Yeah, so let's bring up your chats here. Thanks again for stopping by, viewers. Thanks for leaving comments. All the Sun, Sherry Mansfield, Nabo J. And thanks for tuning in, everybody else who's here. Let's see what else we've got. Trump vetoes massive defense bill, calling the legislation a gift to China and Russia. China. A gift to China and Russia. Now, I haven't done the instructions on how to say China for a while, so I should really do that. China. If you haven't said China, you want to say it out the top of your face. Imagine if you had sinusitis. Imagine instead of speaking from deep within your loins, imagine that you had sinusitis or China-itis. And talk out only the top half of your face. Instead of China. China. Now, I'm actually a singer. So among my many skills, I've got many hats. In fact, here's another one right here. I wear many hats, both literally and figuratively. And one of my skills is as a singer. And when you want to say China, 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 say it out of the top of your face. China. China. Like that. Imagine being Trump with sinusitis. Shit. And you want to use a D. Because when you use a D instead of an N, you sound like you've got sinusitis. And let's see what this article's all about. Now, one of the things that Trump had in his requirements for this defense bill was the elimination of FCC Section 230, I believe it's called. And it looked like the legislature was refusing to do that. So Section 230 is in regards to companies like Google, Facebook, and Twitter hiding behind, there you go, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. And that is what allows companies like Google, Facebook, and Twitter to escape legal liability for things people publish on their sites. Which is why they should just simply change their behavior and begin behaving as a platform instead of a publisher. So this is one of the reasons why Trump has vetoed the defense spending bill. Which the House passed overwhelmingly on December 8th with a 335 to 78 to 1 vote. And the Senate passed it with a veto-proof majority at 84 to 13. So unlikely that the veto will stand, although they'll have to re-vote. Trump threatened to veto the NDAA a number of times, including last week when he tweeted, "I will veto the defense bill, which will make China very unhappy. They love it. Must have Section 230 termination. Protect our national monuments and allow the removal of the military from far away and very unappreciative lands. Thank you." China. China. Yeah, so that should be interesting. Whether or not the legislature will override the veto is something to find out in the future. Let's check another news source. Let's go to the ultra-left. Many of you may think it's an objective news source. I'm here to tell you that it's not at all. CBS News, one of the most busted names in news. Unlike us here at SNN, the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. All right, so let me bring that up again. I'll put your comments on the screen here momentarily. Let's see what the top headlines are at communist broadcasting source CBS News. By the way, if you've ever watched 2020, I used to enjoy watching 2020. And now, man, oh man, it is tough to watch. It is agonizing watching 2020. We DVR it every week, and we fast forward most of their stupid stories, but the stories that allow them to have any sort of a slant on politics certainly go the extra mile to be pathetic. All right, so before we check out their headlines, here are your chats. Again, thanks for leaving chats. All the Sun, Sherry Mansfield, Nabo J, Mr. Keebler, and Pull My Finger. By the way, everybody subscribe to Mr. Keebler's YouTube channel. He is a ukulele master. And again, yeah, thanks all of the Sun. Don't forget to smash the like button. Press share on your social media. Tell your friends, your foes, your news and politics noobs, and your news and politics pros. Did you get your Les Paul ukuleles yet? Stoked to see that. Yes, the WHO changed the definition of herd immunity. And also Merriam-Webster changed the definition of the word sexual preference this year. Why? Because you're living in 1984, and because Amy Coney Barrett, during her confirmation hearing, said the word sexual preference, which was enough for the definition of the word to be changed to, quote, offensive, end quote, by Merriam-Webster. Well done, Merriam-Webster. You've joined the realm of hackery. So the top story here on CBS News is, of course, anti-Trump stuff. Latest round of Trump pardons includes Manafort, Stone, and Kushner's father. I was not even aware anything went on with Kushner's father. And I'm not going to read the story. All right, I'll read the story. CBS's video starts with Trump pardons key campaign figures. Here's a clip.
Washington, where another storm is
Oh, no. No, not that clip. Here's a clip of the president talking. Oh, my God, it's Kamala Harris, one of the most disgusting politicians I've ever seen in my life. And, oh, this is just a variety show. Time to get her off my screen. President Trump announced 26 new pardons Wednesday. Although he hasn't pardoned Edward Snowden yet, I'm waiting for that. And really hoping that happens, as Edward Snowden will be absolutely invaluable this year in 2020. But especially next year, in the year of accountability. Leave us a comment and let us know who you want to be accountable. On my list includes Governor Tom Wolf, Governor Andrew Cuomo, Pennsylvania Health Secretary, former NCAA linebacker and hottie Dr. Rachel Levine. So Trump has, let's see, he's pardoned Manafort, Jared Kushner's father, Charles Kushner, granted 15 pardons a day before, already commuted the sentence of Stone. And I don't know anything about the cases. And like Jordan Peterson, I prefer to only comment on things that I know something about. Oh, and I love that this is the story that I actually trolled on Twitter. So let's go back to Twitter to show you my comments and to encourage you, the viewer, to follow me over on Twitter. So I actually retweeted their story here. Oh no, I didn't retweet it. I ratioed them. Yes, I ratioed CBS News. By the way, if you're wondering what that means, ratioing is when you don't press like and you don't retweet, you just make a comment and leave it there, which is what I did because, well, their story is nonsense. Because the leftist news media is what they're doing is they're trying to give the Democrats credit for vetoing the $600 for all Americans COVID stimulus package, which COVID, and request $2,000 for all Americans. So Democrats are trying to take credit for it, and the news media is trying to, gaslight us. By the way, if somebody attempts to gaslight you and you recognize that they're attempting to gaslight you, it's not gaslighting. It's attempted gaslighting, which is, by the way, all too common on YouTube, as you may have noticed. And yes, I've been gaslit and attempted gaslit many, many times as a result of making the content that we make. I'm fine with it because I grew up with gaslighting. My parents are baby boomers. So, yes, all too familiar with gaslighting and attempted gaslighting. So Kirk Cameron's been going around caroling, doing anti-lockdown and anti-mask mandate carols. And check it out. Here's one of my memes about government shutdowns. OMG, a government shutdown. I'm so scared right now. No, not a government shutdown. Hey, that's an awful nice government you got there. Be a shame if it shut down, eh? Did you see our video about the Federal Reserve? We did a video late night last night, since yesterday, December 23rd, was the anniversary, the 107th anniversary of the Federal Reserve Act, which Woodrow Wilson signed into law on a Friday, on December 23rd. Everybody came back after the New Year holiday to find that capitalism had been abolished and corporate bankster cronyism had been established, as the Federal Reserve Act ensures banking cronyism. And if you think the government is in control of the Federal Reserve, it would be more accurate to say that the Federal Reserve is in charge of the government, in that the Federal Reserve has a tighter grasp on the purse strings than the legislature. So the legislature is supposed to control spending, but ultimately the Federal Reserve really does. For example, if the Federal Reserve wanted the government to reduce spending, it could raise interest rates, which would cause the interest on the debt to be so high that it would be too high of a percentage of GDP, and the government would actually reduce spending, and yada, yada, yada. I won't get into it on this video. We're more into current news stories. But anyway, yesterday was Federal Reserve Day, also Festivus Day, which caused a lot of people to air their grievances. And indeed, Rand Paul would agree with me. And if you want to know about solutions, the solution to the Federal Reserve, in my opinion, would be to simply construe interest rates as prices. So the same way the gas station and the grocery store and Macy's is not allowed to price fix with Kohl's or some other retailer, the same way, Amazon and Walmart are not allowed to collude on the price of anything. The largest block of business in the world is the interest on corporate and international loans, and banks should not be permitted to price fix on those. So if a law was simply passed to construe interest rates as prices, it would instantly defang the Federal Reserve. because the manipulation artificially of interest rates is what creates a lack of competition in the financial marketplace. And I won't get into the FDIC and legal tender laws and precious metal backing and all that stuff in this video because we don't want it to be too long. I could go on for hours about all of that sort of stuff. So let's see what HuffPo is saying. HuffPost.com. And the lead story there is, no surprise there, Christmas cover-up. Trump bails out his henchmen. Dun dun! Oh my God. He's bailing out his henchmen. Oh, and our healthcare heroes are getting fed up with us. Would that be Dr. Fauci? Which brings me to another point. Have you been watching Media Bear's content? Now, they've only got 34,000 subscribers, which means they don't need our help. And I think their top video is actually We Will Mock You, which last I checked was approaching 300,000 views. So congratulations to Media Bear on their massive success. Great, great parody videos over there. And my recent favorite is Fauci the Con Man, based on Frosty the Snowman. And if you want to search for that, it's spelled F@UCI. I guess he was worried about getting censored or getting banned or something like that. This one's only got 26,000 views. Here's a clip. Fauci the Con Man was a swamp dweller, I say. And here he is with totally unfunny political hack Trevor Noah.
Knew exactly what to say, so he said, "Mask on, there'll be no more fun."
As Fauci's been trying to cancel Christmas, make sure you go check that out. Shout out to Media Bear. 34,500 subscribers. And well done with the parody videos. On that note, fantastic. Let's bring up the viewer chats. And we'll scroll through those so that so whatever you're saying is able to be seen on the screen, even if what I'm saying will be censored from your screen. Although we've been doing well with keeping the videos fully monetized, meaning they'll actually show up when you search for them and so on. And they might even get recommended, who knows? So in any case, yes, they've changed the definition of herd immunity. Merriam-Webster changed the definition of the word sexual preference to include the wording offensive. Oh, nice. Keebs is getting 3 Les Paul ukuleles. And there's a link to Mr. Keebler's YouTube channel. I'll bring that up real quick as well. And here's their latest. Jingle Bells Arena Rock. Oh, there it is! Yes. Yes. Now, I'm a Les Paul player. So, the solid body guitar is the first guitar that I owned. Check it out. Nice. Is that a Floyd Rose tremolo system on there, too? I don't see a bar. It looks like a locking tremolo. Yowzers. Look at the beautiful sunburst paint job on that thing, too. Fantastic. Anyway, here's a clip from their Jingle Bells cover. We'll play less than 8 seconds here, as I don't want to get copyright struck or banned. Sounds a little bit like Rush in that moment. Yeah, so make sure you subscribe over there, Mr. Keebler, who's not yet surpassed us in subscribers, which actually I find kind of surprising. And he has displayed his Festivus poll. Don't worry, folks, it's perfectly clean. There's been nothing pornographic posted in the comments. So let's get to another news source here, a more cutting edge one. And if you've never checked it out before, check out zerohedge.com. Zerohedge.com. Considered by the mainstream to be what you'd call a libertarian news source, and they're usually pretty on top of things. Let's go to their oldest stories on their homepage first. By the way, the last story listed on their homepage right now is about the differences between the way people experience COVID. Now, I think I got COVID back in May. And a quick rundown of the symptoms that I experienced. I had a runny nose, and it was a very strange runny nose, and it lasted about 36 hours. And this is the kind of thing that I would typically expect to experience from the flu. And without getting too in-depth into it, because I don't want to argue with people in the comments section, viruses like COVID strike people very differently. Some people get nothing but joint and muscle pain. Some people get a fever and nothing else. Some people get a dry cough and nothing else. And I mean, I actually saw a website that was listing 98 symptoms of COVID. So maybe I can find it here. Let me just do a quick search. I kind of stumbled onto it accidentally. Oh yeah, here we go. It was picked up by MSM.com. And it's basically just a list of symptoms that people say that they've had, which doesn't really help things very much, because there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and total nonsense. Yeah, I'm not going to try to display that. But yeah, there's 98 different symptoms that people say that they've had, and that article is just based on a poll where people who had COVID just filled out a poll, and they said, yeah, I had indigestion. I had indigestion and a headache. While another guy's like, I had a dry cough and a fever. And another guy's like, I had a sty in one eye and conjunctivitis in the other. And I had excessive earwax, or, you know, that's not really on the list, but I'm just saying. A lot of the symptoms are even refutation, like tachycardia or slow heart rate, high blood pressure, low blood pressure. So yeah, in any case, it's a real mess. Some organizations will tell you that the most relevant symptom to diagnose COVID would be a fever. Other ones will say loss of taste and smell are the most definitive ways to determine if you've had COVID or not. So this particular author here, Daisy Luther, who's never had influenza. Let's see what she felt. First of all, she has no idea how she got COVID. She works from home, and she's been following the local rules, which, by the way, are totally ineffective on preventing the transmission of a virus with the transmissibility of a thing like COVID. So mask wearing and lockdowns are not effective really at all. I won't get into it today. Let's see. So she has mild asthma, the cough variant kind, where instead of wheezing, she sounds like she's dying of bronchitis. She's pretty fit, and she walks 3.5 hilly miles. So on day one, she started to feel kind of off, tired, very, very tired, and went to bed ridiculously early at 7 p.m. because she couldn't keep her eyes open. Tuesday, she realized she was sick and brushed it off as the flu or the cold. Day 3 to 5, fever and chills were almost constant. Joint and muscle pain. Getting up to go to the bathroom felt like an expedition up a mountain. Days 6 to 9, got a test at the local clinic. Had a fever between 101 and 103, which is quite a high fever. That's the kind of fever that is associated with delirium and so on. Indeed, one day blurred into the next. And day 10, she started feeling slightly better. So yeah, COVID affects people vastly differently. And so don't get too confused when people say that they have completely different symptoms. And there are your chats once again. Thanks for leaving comments. Let's get to some more stories here. Again, we don't want the live stream to be too long. Were you aware of 2020's biggest tech mergers and acquisitions? Something I'm very interested in, as big tech organizations, especially Google, Facebook, and Twitter, should be highly accountable in the year 2020. So let's see here. NVIDIA and AMD are on the list. Oh, geez. Quite a list here. So by the end of February, 6 of the 19 biggest tech mergers had already occurred, and there was all kinds of dust-ups in big tech organizations. Let's see here. Morgan Stanley purchased E-Trade. NVIDIA acquired ARM for $40 billion. AMD acquired Xilinx for $35 billion. Salesforce acquired Slack. Morgan Stanley bought E-Trade. Cuck Industries bought Infor. Marvell Technology bought Inphi. Intuit bought Credit Karma. NVIDIA also bought Mellanox. Visa bought Plaid. And Insight Partners bought VM. So I was not really aware of most of that. Most of those companies are pretty behind the scenes, not organizations that you'll be likely to deal with directly. A story about drug trafficking. U.S. has a new long-range cannon with a 43-mile range. That's quite impressive for all of you who know anything about artillery. So what do you think the year of 2021, the year of accountability, will bring? Again, who do you wish to see held accountable? I've got quite a list, which I won't enumerate in this video. Let's check out the list of world leaders who've contracted COVID-19 so far. You've got Boris Johnson, you've got Donald Trump, and you've got idiotic reporters suggesting that Donald Trump should take a vaccine even though he's already had the COVID. Let's put this up on the screen. So, Mikhail Mishustin, Prime Minister of Russia. I was not even aware that was the Prime Minister of Russia. Nikol Pashinyan, Prime Minister of Armenia. Juan Orlando Hernandez, President of Honduras. The President of Brazil, the President of Bolivia, the President of Belarus, who hilariously noted that the cure for COVID is sauna and vodka. Yes, sauna and vodka. Alejandro Giammattei of Guatemala. There's President Trump. The President of Algeria, Poland, the Prime Minister of Bulgaria, the Prime Minister of Eswatini, a country I've never even heard of, as the map of Africa changes every 5 minutes, and Emmanuel Macron, recently diagnosed on December 17th. Probably lots more had the COVID. They probably just didn't announce that they had the COVID. And remember, folks, your HIPAA rights do not evaporate ever. You don't need to tell anybody about your health status. And if anybody thinks you do, they would be incorrect if you're an American. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. It's to protect your medical records, which are personal. And what else do we have here? The deep state in the news. What do you think about the vaccine? Are you going to take a vaccine? I'll tell you a personal story. I'm not taking a vaccine. Why? Because it would be too dangerous. Yes. So, I'm quite sensitive to heavy metals, such as nickel, but also now to plastics. So in the past 2 months, I've gotten a rash, which is persistent. It's a chronic rash from wearing masks. And despite having not worn the regular surgical ear loop mask, the kind that's blue on the outside and made of a very fine polypropylene mesh material in triplicate on the inside, and having polyester ear loops, which polyester wrapped elastic ear loops, I still got a rash. I'm still itchy. There's skin flaking off of my face right now. So yeah, I've become extremely, if not allergic, at least adversely reactive to plastics. So not only metals, but plastics, and that disqualifies me from the vaccine. And I don't really care anyway. I never take a flu vaccine. I've never gotten the flu that I'm aware of. I probably have gotten it and just didn't have sufficient symptoms to realize that I had it. And just a little consumer side note, asymptomatic people are very, very unlikely to pass on coronavirus to anybody. And that is why mask and lockdown mandates are utterly ineffective. Let me get back to the news story here. So Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, and Charles Kushner have been pardoned in one way or another. Stimulus payments set stage for the revolution's sedation is one of the headlines you'll see on Zero Hedge if you read Zero Hedge. So, yeah, I guess massive inflation is the cure for revolution. Let's put your comments back on the screen. Again, thanks everybody for leaving comments, tuning in, etc. We'll scroll down the list here. Again, please don't forget to press like and subscribe. Share the content on your social media. Tell your friends, your foes, your news and politics pros, and your news and science politics noobs about the content. Do you think $600 for all Americans would prevent revolution? What about 2,000? What about 2 billion? What about 2 quadrillion? How about a $2 quadrillion check for all Americans? I think that would solve the problem, right? $2 quadrillion, or we'll turn the country into a pool of hot liquid magma. Hot liquid magma. All right, enough silliness. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on the stimulus? Yeah, Dr. Fauci got vaccinated, allegedly, yesterday. Have you noticed the problem with the news? Does it seem like no news is real? Well, here at the Smash News Network, we've noticed the problem. And it's part of the reason why we started making more varied types of videos. It's because, well, we're not big on the fraud. So, yeah, we would like accountability for our channel in the year 2021 as well. So again, tell your friends, your foes, science noobs, news and politics noobs, and pros about the channel. We'll see you on social media. I think it's about time to wrap this thing up. We're about 40 minutes in here. Don't forget to view our video on the Federal Reserve. You can find that on the Smash News Network playlist, which is available at youtube.com/smashomash/playlists. You can also find us on BitChute, exclusive content on all of our social media sites. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. SmashoMash, and it's time for me to vanish and wish you a happy Christmas Eve. Look for more content coming today. We'll probably make another video about the sun. And I'll leave you with some closing tunes, original music, from from Golden Cat Productions. And if you want to see more original music, check out the links below the video. Support the channel in whatever way you see fit. Increase the probability that videos will remain free and publicly visible. We'll see you next time at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news.